All right, there we go. Hello, hello, welcome everyone. How are y'all feeling today? Oh, you can do better. How's everyone feeling today? How are you, Hong Kong? Much better, much better. I know some of you guys might be hungover from last night. No shame. So, first of all, thank you for coming to Web3 in 2024, starring Pyth Network and Wormhole. We're all happy you made it out today. We're going to do a few keynotes, a few lovely panels, but afterwards, come to the rooftop on floor 30. We're doing an after party, a big mixer for everyone. You won't want to miss it. Let's get this started. I'm here today. My name's Ed. I lead growth strategy at the Pyth Data Association. I'm here today to talk to you about the market data that you guys use, whether you're a DeFi founder, a DeFi builder, or a DeFi user. Next slide. So I'm going to talk today more specifically about market data. I think it's one of those things, it's one of those concepts that's deeply misunderstood in very subtle ways, both in Web3 but also in Web 2. So how does a Pyth network specialize in market data? What difference does it make for you guys as Web3 users going forward? So let's start with the basics. DeFi applications need financial data in order to operate. Unless you're an AMM or an order book where you facilitate your own price discovery, chances are you need an Oracle in order to tap into data happening in the real world or Web 2 and Web 3 capital markets. If you're trading on perps or building on perps, you need reference to an underlying price to calculate your funding rates. If you're a lending protocol, you need to evaluate user collateral in real time to liquidate people correctly. If you're a structured products protocol or doing options, you need to calculate your payoffs and the price of the instrument based on the real-time underlying. What then is a smart contract developer to do? Well, there's a few options aside from homebrewing your own Oracle or relying on a single dependency point, which is the API of a centralized exchange, for example. Most DeFi protocols tend to use an Oracle, like the Pyth network. And the job of the Oracle is to find a trustless way to bring data from Web 2 capital markets, Web 3 capital markets, the real world, etc., onto the blockchain with minimum trust assumptions in a way that's transparent and in a way that's reliable. Next slide. Pyth Network, of course, is not the first Oracle to come into the world. We're certainly a second mover in that state, in that regards. But there are a few things that make Pyth Network a bit different from legacy Oracles. So let's look at the legacy model of Oracles and how it works. In those days, there's a simple observation. In the world of Web 2, there's an ocean of data. That was the value proposition of an open internet to begin with. A subset of that data would be financial data. So if you go on Yahoo Finance, you go on Google Finance, CoinMarketCap or CoinGecko if you're in Web3, you can find the prices of different assets out there. You can find the price of Apple stock. You can find the price of Bitcoin. But by definition, these prices are going to be very delayed, especially US equities prices, for example, which by US law must be delayed by 15 to 20 minutes. As for CoinGecko and CoinMarketCap, it's unclear where they get their data from, and it's certainly not the same as using a professional terminal like with like the TAI or a Masari terminal. Same with Bloomberg. So with legacy, actually no, go back. Let's dig a bit deeper actually. So legacy oracles believe that there's a way that you can tap into this data and bring it on chain. If you just incentivize enough nodes in a network to go out there and fetch or scrape this kind of data from the Web 2 world and then perform consensus among each other, enough nodes agree, you can put that data on chain. And you know what? That worked in 2017. This worked for things like weather or sports data. But for financial data, it didn't quite pass muster, especially for a world that's becoming more characterized by high throughput DeFi and multi-chain requirements. Next slide, please. There are restrictions that come with this model of getting third-party data from these freemium aggregators, right? If you try and get your data from a CoinGecko or CoinMarketCap and bring it on chain, first of all, there are issues with scaling, there are issues with accountability of the data, there's issues with latency and quality. Let's start with speed first. As you add more intermediaries in between to pass the data along, you incur additional costs in both time and resources to pass that data through. Furthermore, it's not clear why CoinGecko or CoinMarketCap, like sources, should even be held accountable for what happens at the smart contract level. In fact, they're not accountable. And it's not always clear where they get their data from to begin with. Lastly, there's a huge issue of scalability. As I alluded to, if you want to expand this Oracle to a new blockchain or expand your asset class coverage and have new price feeds, that's more nodes you have to spin up. That's more data resources these node runners have to tap into. This is not going to scale in a world where everyone wants to be on every single blockchain at once. So this is where Pyth Network is different. If you look closely at the Death Star-like laser architecture, you see that Pyth Network has a much different premise. if you go out to where market data actually lives, if you go out to the world of market makers, exchanges, and trading firms, where people interact with each other and trade in liquidity venues, these are the activities from which prices actually emerge. This is where price data comes from, and this is what developers and DeFi builders absolutely need to power their protocols. So if we can incentivize these active participants of price discovery to come willingly to Web3, to come to the Pyth network and deliver their data, to contribute the proprietary data, then we would have found, and we've already found, a much better way of delivering Oracle data. What's not shown on the screen here is actually something very cool too. The Pyth network has 100 of such institutional and decentralized market players contributing data. And a little fun fact that you guys probably didn't know, the Pyth network is its own layer 1 blockchain. That's right. The Pyth network has an application chain called PythNet, which does the magic of taking all this wonderful data from some of these data providers. I'll show you some of them in a bit. Pyth network aggregates all their data every 400 milliseconds, meaning we stream the data to you at speeds basically coming close to what you see in the HFT realm. We stream that data through Wormhole, through our partners at Wormhole, who then delivers it to all your favorite blockchains. Right now, Pyth supports 56 blockchains, and the advantages are very clear. Immediately, you see that we sidestep the issue of having intermediaries who need to help relay the data or perform consensus for that data to bring it on chain. So already we have a streamlined process that is very cost effective. Furthermore, the reputational nature of the data providers, combined with the on-chain aggregation logic of Pyth, keeps the data clean, safe, and trustless in the end. As in, you can trust in the quality of the data in abidance with the ethos of Web3. Lastly, there's scalability. As I said, Pyth is currently supporting, I think, 56 blockchains, and that's within just 2 years. Wherever you choose to build, Pyth oracles are going to be there, ready to support you with over 500 price feeds across major asset classes. That's what the future of DeFi should be about. It should be about having all the choice you need and being able to build without any restrictions. Next slide, please. We need a remote. So let's take a closer look at some of the advantages of Pyth. There's 2 differences I want you guys to take away from Pyth versus legacy oracles: where the data comes from and how the data is delivered. So let's talk about sourcing. On this beautiful visual, you're going to see a subset of just some of the data providers for the Pyth network, both institutional, but also in the world of DEXs. You're going to recognize many of these household names. In the world of exchanges, you'll recognize names like the CBOE. You'll recognize names like LMAX. In the centralized exchange world, you see also Binance, Bybit, OKX, KuCoin, Gate. These are just some of the players providing their actual bid-ask spreads as price data to the Pyth network. In the world of market makers and proprietary trading firms, you also see, go back, names like Jane Street, Susquehanna, and the QCB Capital, as well as Wintermute and many, many others contributing their data. If you look close enough, you're also going to see Orca, Radium, and 0x as some of the DEXs. The idea is that for any Pyth price feed, there's up to 64 of these kinds of data providers contributing their data in real time. So whatever price you get as the output, you can bet your tail it's going to be a very accurate global snapshot of what's happening across both CeFi markets and DeFi markets. Take a closer look for yourself at the difference in quality. Here you see the purple Pyth network price feed for the ETH-USD pair. Look closely at how the purple line very closely matches the white line. The white line in this example, if I remember correctly, is the Binance price. You can see that the Pyth price feed for ETH-USD is extremely granular, and in terms of resolution and latency, it follows very closely to what's actually happening in a very liquid CeFi market. Compare that to the red legacy oracle comparison in this case, where compromises must be made to both latency and resolution, so that the red price feed ends up looking more like a step function in comparison to the actual real-world price. Keep it. This goes to show the world of difference with Pyth data. For the lending protocols out there in the perps protocols, for example, this is extremely important. You don't want your users being incorrectly liquidated, you also want your users to be liquidated at the correct time. If you've been following CT, you may have seen that some legacy oracles have caused issues for Aave and Curve in regards to these issues, where liquidations should have happened but then were missed because of latency issues, or liquidations were incorrectly triggered because of price precision issues. Thank you. Let's talk about delivery next. How is Pyth network different in terms of delivering data to you, the user? So if you look at the bottom, you see the push oracle, the legacy model. The idea is, back in the day, legacy oracles would push price data to the blockchain at a set frequency, maybe every 30 minutes, maybe every 1 hour, maybe every 24 hours. It really depended on how important and how in demand this price feed was. But immediately you can see a few problems. First of all, this becomes very costly in terms of gas. That price feed for ETHUSD alone, as the example, you have to pay 365 days worth of constantly pushing price updates on chain, and not every price update is used. This is very gas inefficient. There's so much gas being wasted from this model, and there's always going to be a tension between the Oracle provider who must push these price updates on chain and those who want to afford it. And trust me, that cost gets pushed down either to the user level in terms of trading fees, or to the blockchain foundation in terms of subsidies, or to the protocol in terms of, well, grants for the Oracle provider. This is no good. Keep it. This is no good. The Pyth network Oracle is a pull Oracle in comparison. Pyth empowers DeFi applications to pull data from the data providers to the DeFi applications on demand. So whenever you need to consume data, that's when you pay gas fees to use it. That's extremely gas efficient, this on-demand model. And what's even cooler is that the users, the downstream users like yourselves, let's say you're on Synthetics, every time you make a trade, that is the only time you have to pay gas to pull the price update. And by definition and by guarantee, you get the latest price update. You're not waiting around for the last pushed price update from 5 minutes ago or 5 hours ago. You get the latest price. That is the Pythian promise. So there's one more cool nuance about this, right? Some of you guys may have participated in the secondary markets for the launch of the W governance token by Wormhole. I know many of you did. What was cool about that day was just hours after W launched in secondary markets, the Pyth network launched its WUSD price feed. That WUSD price feed became instantly available on all 56 Pyth-supported blockchains at once. That means exposure to W token is immediately extended to the EVM world, to the Move world, to Cosmos, to Rust and Solana, and even to the Bitcoin layer 2s like Merlin chain, right? This is amazing if you're a protocol user trying to get a price feed listed, and this is amazing for DeFi protocols who want the hottest markets listed as soon as possible to serve their users, no matter where they choose to build. So that's the Pyth advantage in a nutshell. But let's move away from the abstract, and let's look at some numbers go up, and let's see just for ourselves how popular the Pyth solution has been for the last year. Today, I'm very proud to announce that the number of confirmed Pyth users, applications using Pyth data, has almost tripled from year to date. In 1 year, we've gone from 120 or so data users to 330 confirmed data users. And these are just the confirmed ones. Pyth price feeds are also permissionless, meaning if you want to tap into Pyth data, you don't need to talk to me, you don't need to talk to Andy, you don't need to talk to a sales team. We're not going to force you to sign an exclusivity contract, and we're not going to blacklist your smart contract address just because we don't recognize who you are. None of that Web 2 nonsense. This is the Web 3 ethos at work. If you want to tap into Pyth data right now, you go to docs.pyth.network, read the docs, it's a few lines of code, and you can get started. But if you are using Pyth data, definitely let us know. We'd love to learn what you're building and support you however we can. Let's look at trading volume too. So now shown on this graph is the amount of volume we secured up to this point in the last 3 years of our life. I'm very proud to also announce that to date, the Pyth network has secured $300 billion of trading volume across all of DeFi. That's an amazing milestone. We're very proud to have achieved this. This is more of a monthly breakdown. You can see for yourself that in the last month alone, there's $87 billion of volume secured across all the 56 blockchains I mentioned by Pyth data. This is amazing. And I think there's a couple things that this shows. First, of course, it shows the amazing traction in people tapping into Pyth data and all 500 of its real-time price feeds. But secondly, I think this is also in correlation with the renaissance or the revival of DeFi since the systemic crises of 2022. So it's good to see that we're coming back. Speaking of coming back, let's talk about total value secured, or the Oracle version of TVL. This is a rougher proxy for growth and market share, but the punchline is this is Oracle-supported TVL, and Pyth has gone from $3 billion of TVL in February to $7 billion this month. We haven't published the stats yet, but it's coming out very soon. Again, numbers go up, and we're very happy to see that. Whatever blockchain you want to see Pyth network on, you let us know, and we'll be there. Or whatever price feeds you want. whether it's in the world of crypto, or even equities, commodities, foreign exchange pairs, or even ETFs like QQQ, SPY, and the Bitcoin ETFs. We support those kinds of price feeds, and we want to make sure we're supporting the markets that matter to your customers. 100 data providers, that's another milestone. We're very proud of that. You can imagine a world where the entire world of CeFi data, DeFi data, and even TradFi data congregate to the PythNet application chain. And from there, all the data transmit out to Wormhole to any and all blockchains that exist. This is what it means to be truly scalable in today's Web3 realm. Daily average updates is another fun thing for the financial analysts among you. Every time someone pulls a price update from PythNet to the blockchain, that is one update or one price pull. Right now we're doing several million per month depending on a number of macro factors. But the punchline is, Pyth governance is going to be your way of deciding what the fees are going to be for Pyth price updates. If you have strong thoughts on how Pyth should charge for its data, whether it should be in USDC or Pyth token, how high it should be for each blockchain, these are conversations happening right now within Pyth governance in our Discord, and you guys as Pyth stakers and members of the Pyth Network DAO will have a say. So just imagine the math, right? This number of daily average updates multiplied by the price, that's the amount of on-chain revenue that Pyth Network accrues on-chain. And you guys also get to decide through governance what happens to that revenue. So I've gone through a lot. This has been a crash course through some of the magic of the Pyth Network and just how much we've grown, how much the Pyth Network has grown for the past 3 years. It's a sprawling network going across so many different verticals. We couldn't be more proud to have such a diverse number of stakeholders, including individual users, infrastructure providers, data providers, and of course, DeFi protocols joining in on the network and becoming part of our mission. So before I forget, thank you very much. Andy? No, not yet. I have a CTA to plug in. For those who haven't done so already, go to staking.pyth.network and stake your Pyth tokens. This is how you become part of Pyth governance. This is how you help shape the network, the Pyth network that's transforming your day-to-day. I didn't show this on the slides either, but according to DeFi Llama, 1 out of 4 DeFi applications uses Pyth data, meaning there's a 25% chance you've touched something powered by Pyth. But by our own numbers, it's actually 50% of DeFi applications. So I'll let you decide who's correct here, but chances are your life is already powered by Pyth. We couldn't be more thankful to have you guys on our mission. Go and become part of Pyth governance if you haven't done so already. And wherever you choose to build and whatever you choose to build, let us know and we'll be there to support you. Thank you.